Hello, assalamu alaikum and welcome to another video. I am Irfan Ullah Khan और आज मैं आपसे जिस चीज़ पे बात करने लगा हूँ वो है एक ऐसा टॉपिक जो कि मेरे फील्ड से रिलेटेड है, ठीक है, एंड दैट इज़ कॉल्ड एज सर्कुलर डेट, ठीक है। सर्कुलर डेट, हम सर्कुलर डेट का नाम काफ़ी सुनते हैं, ठीक है। वी ऑफन कम अक्रॉस द वर्ड सर्कुलर डेट। नाउ अगर इफ़ वी ट्राई टू एक्सप्लोर कि व्हाट इज़ सर्कुलर डेट, सर्कुलर डेट इज़ ए terminology that is related to the energy sector, ठीक है। एनर्जी सेक्टर में तीन चीज़ें हैं, याद रखें। कौन कौन सी हैं? नंबर फर्स्ट इज़ जनरेशन, नंबर टू इज़ ट्रांसमिशन, and the number third one is the distribution. The generation जो होती है वो डिफरेंट सोर्सेज से होती है, ठीक है। फॉर एग्जांपल इट इज़ हाइडल और इट इज़ न्यूक्लियर और इट इज़ कोल और नेचुरल गैस और रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी RE। जो ट्रांसमिशन है, ट्रांसमिशन इज़ द ट्रांसमिशन फ्रॉम द जनरेटिंग पॉइंट to the place from where we will step it down, and from there this is the high tension lines, ठीक है। high tension lines जो आप कभी मोटरवे पे जाते हैं तो you see those high tension lines which are going, ठीक है। Now what is distribution? Distribution is to the consumer premises। जो consumer premises में distribution होती है, that is called as the distribution. Those companies that generate, they also include the IPPs. Remember the name, independent power producers. The transmission of the electricity in Pakistan, apart from Karachi, ये सारा का सारा काम is with National Transmission and Dispatch Company (NTDC), and the distribution of the this electricity is done by this is a really अजीब सा word है लेकिन I'll spell it, discos, and this is known as the distribution companies. The distribution companies are, for example, आपने नाम सुना होगा ISCO, Islamabad Electric Supply Corporation, and Mr. C, you've heard of LESCO, Lahore Electric Supply Corporation, and you must have heard from those from Peshawar, the PESCO and KESCO and HESCO, and just go on and put ESCO and you'll name all of them. So these are the distribution companies. The distribution companies, before, they were the part of the larger setup which was known as WAPDA. But now WAPDA has been this part has been removed from WAPDA, and WAPDA is now purely it is a related to the water related power sector. For example, if they are going to make a dam, so it will be related to WAPDA. If we are making a the dam, ठीक है, in the GB, right? So Diamir Basha, yes, I just missed the name. Diamir Basha Dam, or if we are making Muman Dam, so that will be that would be taken care by WAPDA, right? So, but what is the job of NEPRA? There's another thing that you hear, that is NEPRA. NEPRA is a regulatory authority. This NEPRA का काम जो है वो प्राइस फिक्सिंग, जितनी भी प्राइस फिक्सिंग की बातें हैं वो सारी नेपरा के साथ है. Or in other words, if you must have heard the name, tariff. The tariff adjustment is done by NEPRA, right? So the topic was about circular debt, and we moved on to things that are coming into my mind regarding energy. But to understand the circular debt, you must know this whole setup. So what happens is, first of all, there are consumers, right? And these consumers are they are consuming electricity, right? For this consumption, they are going to now the consumers are given electricity, right? This is consumer. These consumers, after utilizing the energy, are going to pay their bills to the discos. The discos are going to receive the bills. The discos will then, another terminology I'm afraid, which is called as the Central Power Purchasing Agency. The discos are going to pay the whole of the bills. So all of the discos will collect, and they are going to give that money to the Central Power Purchasing Agency. This agency is the market operator. The government of Pakistan has set this up to purchase the electricity and to deliver it to the consumers. So, this cash flow, the Central Power Purchasing Agency will pay the money, pay the bills to the IPPs, those who are generating the power. The IPPs will of course make their profit end up. They are going to settle their bills, right? And the IPPs, because they generate energy by a oil, for example PSO, from gas, and these are under the government control. These are private. Now the question is, where does the circular debt arise? If any of these actors is not able to pay the cash flow, the cash flow is, that is the cash flow, that is the cash flow, that is the cash flow, here it is again. If any of these actors is unable to pay their amount, circular debt starts to accumulate. For example, if consumers are not able to pay the bills, or the discos do not make a full recovery, which happens to be, then the discos haven't recovered the money and they won't be able to pay the required amount of CPPA. Now the discos are going to pay less money because they haven't received a complete recovery. The CPPA in turn will pay less to the IPPs, and the IPPs won't be able to pay government because the IPPs didn't receive and they didn't pay, and PSO and SNGPL, SSGC have to invest somewhere to bring gas and oil. PSO has to buy oil from somewhere. Now PSO has got a huge money deficit because they have not received the receivable they were entitled to. Now there is a huge gap of money which PSO is requesting the government to give them. this whole system plays a role, and the circular debt accumulates, and it accumulates, and then what happens is the government has to come in and pay the subsidy for whichever actor has done the deficiency. For example, when the consumers are not paying, there is a deficiency on their side, and the government will have to pay the money for the either free or cheap electricity that somebody somewhere in Pakistan was enjoying and was not paying the money in reality. So if he's not paying the money, he's not going to pay the bill, and if the bills are not paid, the disco will not be able to move this cycle. So the government steps in and pays a money for the larger chunk who are not paying their bills. I hope you understood the concept of circular debt, and this circular debt is one of the biggest dents in the economy of Pakistan. Former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif and their government, they paid, when they came, if I'm not wrong, they paid about 1200 billion rupees, right? That is 1.2 trillion. And the current circular debt, which has accumulated, right? The current circular debt is greater than 1200 again, right? So check the figures, and for this, to check the figures, go and visit the State Bank's quarterly report on energy, right? Quarterly reports on energy. I hope you understood the concept of energy, and you will share, I hope you share it if you like it, and comment if you do not understand the concept, because this is a technical topic of Pakistan affairs. Thank you.